Today we are going to discuss Chapter 10, Agriculture in India, Part 1. So, in this chapter, the salient features of Indian agriculture, Green Revolution, problems of Indian agriculture and natural agricultural policy will be discussed. The term agriculture has been derived from two Latin words, ager meaning land and culture meaning cultivation. Agriculture is as old as human civilization. Along with Egypt, Iraq and China, India was one of the first countries to practice agriculture. Agriculture helped early man to lead a settled life. The development of ancient civilization in the river valleys was due to agriculture. We are living in the industrial age. Still, more than half of the world's population is directly or indirectly dependent on agriculture. So, agriculture includes raising of crops from the land, animal husbandry, agroforestry and pisciculture. India is preeminently an agricultural country. In addition to providing food and fodder to large population of human beings and livestock, agriculture is the main source of raw material for several key industries. Sugarcane, cotton and oil seeds are some of the outstanding agricultural raw materials used in industries. India is a unique country from agricultural point of view. Its enormous expanse of level plains, rich soils, high percentage of cultivable land, wide climatic variety with adequate aggregate rainfall combined with sufficient temperature, ample sunshine and long growing season provide solid base to agriculture. Healthy and advanced agriculture creates demand for several industrial products like tractors, harvesters, threshers, chemical fertilizers, pesticides, etc. Income generated in the agricultural sector creates ready market for various manufactured goods. Thus, agriculture has double relation with industry. It acts as a supplier of raw materials to the industries and as consumer of industrial products. In fact, prosperity of the entire nation depends upon the prosperity of agriculture. Bulk of India's export trade consists of agricultural products and agro-processed products. The major agricultural commodities of export are tea, coffee, cashew, etc. Salient features of Indian agriculture. Dependence on monsoons. Indian agriculture is mainly dependent upon monsoon, which is uncertain, unreliable and irregular. In spite of large-scale expansion of irrigation facilities, since independence, only 1/3 of the cropped area is provided by perennial irrigation, and the remaining 2/3 of the cropped area has to bear the brunt of the vagaries of monsoons. Variety of crops. India is a vast country with varied types of relief, climate and soil conditions. Therefore, there is a large variety of crops grown in India. Both the tropical and temperate crops are successfully grown in India. Very few countries in the world have variety of crops comparable to that produced in India. Preponderance of food crops or predominance of food crops. Since Indian agriculture has to feed a large population, production of food crops is the first priority of the farmers almost everywhere in the country. More than 2/3 of the total cropped area is devoted to the cultivation of food crops. However, with the change in cropping pattern, the relative share of the food crops came down from 76.7% to 67.2% during 1992-93. Agricultural pattern or crop seasons. India has 3 main crop seasons which are influenced by the changing seasons. They are Kharif, Rabi and Zaid. Kharif season starts with the onset of monsoons and continues till the beginning of winter. Major crops of this season are rice, maize, jowar, bajra, cotton, etc. Rabi season starts in the beginning of winter and continues till the end of winter or the beginning of summer. Major crops of this season are wheat, barley, jowar, gram, and oilseeds. Zaid is summer cropping season in which crops like rice, maize, groundnut, vegetables, and fruits are grown. Green Revolution owes its origin in the findings of new dwarf variety of wheat seeds by Dr. Norman Ernest Borlaug. He was in charge of wheat development program in Mexico in 50s and was the genetic architect of the dwarf wheat. Green Revolution in rice was triggered off by intense upsurge in rice research resulting from establishment of International Rice Research Institute at Manila. Some work on rice has been done in Taiwan also. In India, the seeds of Green Revolution were first field tested in the drought years of 1964-65. They were introduced to the Indian scientists by Dr. Borlaug in 1963. He had predicted in 1961 that India could double her wheat production in 1 decade. 100 kg seeds of each 4 dwarf and semi-dwarf varieties were used. These seeds were planted in different soils in Delhi, Ludhiana, Pusa and Kanpur. Production of food grains in 1967 and 68 was 25% higher than that of 1966 and 67. This unprecedented increase in production was nothing less than a revolution and it was termed as Green Revolution. The following measures were adopted: the use of high yielding variety of seeds, HYV seeds. The high yielding variety of seeds are major input of agricultural production under the Green Revolution technology. Their main characteristics is increased responsiveness to chemical fertilizers. The period of maturing of plants is short. It helps double cropping. Their short stems can easily carry fertilizer load, resist wind damage. Their large leaf surface helps the process of photosynthesis. Irrigation is the second most important component of Green Revolution technology after HYV seeds. Assured and regular supply of sufficient water to crops not only adds to production, it also assures stability in production. Indian rainfall being unreliable, irregular and seasonal, there is urgent need to expand irrigation potential to meet the requirements of Green Revolution strategy. Use of insecticides and pesticides. Under the Green Revolution technology, it has given birth to problems of pests, insects, weeds, rodents, etc. The monoculture promoted by Green Revolution technology is more vulnerable to insects and pests. These pests, weeds and diseases are to be checked by proper doses of insecticides, pesticides and weedicides. Consolidation of holdings. Small and fragmented land holdings have been one of the main obstacles in the process of agriculture in India. Consolidation of holdings has been introduced to solve this problem. A detailed discussion of reducing size of holdings, their fragmentation and consolidation has been given to solve this problem. Land reforms. Immediately after the independence, it was felt that land reforms must be brought in to improve the agricultural situation in India. Absentee landlordism, tenancy at will, and sharecropping could not help in inculcating interest among the farmers to make investments in farm inputs and adopt new farm technology. The zamindar used to exploit the farmers who used to till the land. Soon after independence, the slogan of land to the tiller was raised and steps were taken for the abolition of zamindari. Rural electrification. Rural electrification is one of the essential inputs in modern agricultural system. It is a cheap source of energy which can be used for lifting water by tube wells, pump sets, processing and preserving agricultural produce, sprinkler irrigation and so many other farm operations. The development of groundwater, so vital for green revolution, requires uninterrupted supply of electricity at cheaper rates. Improved rural infrastructure. Rural roads are very essential for connecting the villages to the neighboring markets and villages. Regulated markets enable the farmer to sell his agricultural produce and to produce farm implements and tools and other agricultural inputs as well as goods of everyday use. Supply of agricultural credit. Credit is the most crucial input in all agricultural developmental programs. The other inputs like technology, HYV seed, fertilizers, pesticides, irrigation, water and machinery all depend on the availability of credit. Earlier, the farmers used to get loan from the money lender who used to charge very high rate of interest. Now cooperatives, commercial banks and regional rural banks extend loans to the farmers at easy terms. Use of chemical fertilizers has been the third most important input of green revolution after HYV seeds and irrigation. Rather, the three are tied together. In fact, the use of HYV seed need heavy dose of irrigation and fertilizers to give high yields. Since the entire culturable land has already been brought under plough, there is practically no scope for bringing any new areas under cultivation. Since the entire culturable land has already been brought under plough and there is practically no scope for bringing any new areas under cultivation. Further increase in food grain production can be achieved only by multiple cropping, which heavily leans on the trio of basic inputs like HYV seeds, irrigation and chemical fertilizers. Opening of agricultural universities. Agricultural universities and other agricultural institutions are primarily engaged in agricultural research and passing on the research findings to farmers. Good deal of research and extension work has been done by these universities. The success of green revolution largely depends upon the work done by these universities in Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. These efforts led to remarkable increase in the productivity and have made India self-sufficient in food production. By 2010 and 11, the production of food grains increased 4 times what it was immediately after independence. The Green Revolution has been most remarkable in the states of Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. Problems of Indian agriculture. Small and fragmented land holdings are the most common features of Indian agriculture. Intensive farming, increasing population, and the practice of dividing and subdividing land for inheritance are some of the drawbacks of our agriculture. A lot of time and labor is wasted in taking care of smaller holdings. Irrigation too becomes difficult. Further, a lot of fertile land is wasted in raising boundaries. The small holdings are not enough to support a large family. In villages, joint family systems still exist and holding becomes smaller with each generation as it passes with division from fathers to their sons. Poor quality of seeds. Unfortunately, due to poverty, good quality seeds are out of reach of a majority of farmers because of their exorbitant prices. Poor quality seeds are responsible for poor productivity. To solve this problem, the Government of India established the National Seeds Corporation of India in 1963, its aim being to augment the supply of improved seeds to farmers. Lack of proper use of manure and fertilizer. Manures and fertilizers are essential for retention of the fertility of the soil. Unfortunately, Continuous use of Indian soil without use of proper manure has led to the depletion and exhaustion of soil, resulting in low productivity. Pests and diseases. Protection of crops from various pests, diseases, and insects is very essential. Biocides, that is, pesticides, herbicides, and weedicides, are used to save crops from the above diseases and avoid losses. Farmers should be educated about protection of crops and use of biocides. Traditional upbringing. Most of the Indian farmers do not like change. They stick to their traditional ways of farming or produce only for their own need. Thus, there is a little improvement and the agriculture remains subsistence type. Heavy rains in many areas cause heavy soil erosion affecting agricultural production. Erratic nature of rainfall. In spite of all measures taken to provide irrigation, agricultural production is affected in many areas due to unprecedented rainfall or a full season of little rainfall. Floods and droughts are common. These affect the agricultural production as both conditions amount to natural calamities and cause heavy loss to the farmers. Excessive pressure on land. With increasing population and limited land, our agriculture is mostly subsistence type. Moreover, most of the farmers are still ignorant and illiterate. Although efforts are being made by providing all modern means of education like television sets, schools, free education programs, the progress is very slow, and that is the biggest drawback to the progress of a developing country like ours. The contrast between the people of urban areas and rural population is striking. Low yield. In India, average yield of crops is much lower as compared to other countries because of the reasons stated above. However, the government in the recent 5-year plans has taken many steps to increase crop productivity. Ignorance of farmers and their inability to get good manure have been reasons for poor state of soils. Cow dung provides the best manure to soils, but in rural areas it is mostly used as dung cakes in the kitchens in place of fuel. Chemical fertilizers are too costly and beyond the reach of poor farmers. National Agricultural Policy. Agriculture is one of the most important backbones of Indian economy. It has special significance for low-income, poor and vulnerable sections of rural society. Therefore, proper policy for agricultural sector is essential to improve the living standards and the welfare of the people as a whole. The Indian government announced the National Agricultural Policy in July 2000. Its principal aims and objectives are to remove the major problems of agriculture and improve the complications related to improper and inefficient uses of natural resources. It is mainly designed to raise agricultural production and productivity. Some of the salient features and objectives of National Agricultural Policy are modernizing agricultural sector, enhancing yield of major commodities, raising the productivity of inputs, protecting the interest of underprivileged farmers and agriculturalists, checking environmental degradation, agricultural research and training. Measures taken to accomplish the suggested objectives: to utilize the barren wasteland for agricultural purposes and afforestation, to control indiscriminate division of agricultural land for non-agricultural uses, enhance cropping through multi-cropping and intercropping, to emphasize rational use of ground and surface water so that overexploitation of groundwater resources can be checked, supporting farmers and landless laborers by providing adequate financial incentives.